Hello, hello. Take your seats, please. We're going to get started. Take a piece of pizza to your seat if you want.
I'm going to stay incognito in the back because I got to run in about 10 minutes.
You can sit up there and then just sneak up. You can sit next to Victor. I heard that. I know people are straggling in, but we'll get started. I know, everybody's slow today, like me too. Okay, good evening. People will be straggling in, so don't mind them. And there's people on, not Zoom, what is it? I don't know, something. I think it is Zoom. Facebook Live, yeah. So they're watching Facebook Live. And welcome, everybody. I'm Rose Amador, and I'm the CEO of Conexion. And, okay, everybody knows I'm aging here. And Raul and I are, I would say the last. We're founders of Raza Roundtable back with Victor. And I invited Victor to be at the meeting tonight. So he's already, I put him over there so he wouldn't point at me. He's pointing at you. So I invited him tonight. So anyhow, I'd like to acknowledge the executive board of the Raza Roundtable does hereby acknowledge that this meeting and facility sit on the traditional lands of the Muwekma Ohlone people, and the Raza Roundtable further acknowledges with respect and reverence to the Muwekma Ohlone people of the San Francisco Bay Area for their stewardship of these lands. Okay, I'd like to call on the chief to give the blessing.
Thank you, Rose. Can everyone please bow our heads? Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight as we continue to celebrate the season of new beginnings. We are grateful for the graces you have given us on this day. As we begin our evening, we ask for your strength and guidance. May your peace and courage fill us so that we may be a source of strength and comfort to others. Help us to be patient in moments of frustration and difficulty, and grant us with the courage to act with integrity and wisdom to make good decisions. Lord, we ask that you continue to bless and guide the leaders and members of La Raza Roundtable, and more importantly, bless Rose on her special day. We ask this in your name, amen.
Thank you so much. The chief's been our chaplain for what, about 3-4 years? Something like that? Long time. He's wonderful. Okay, so we need introductions of everybody that's here, then we'll catch the other people later that come in. So, is there a mic to pass around? Oh, you got it, okay. We'll start up here, and then we'll go back later. Uh-oh.
Oh, it is on. Craig Pascal, sorry about that. Executive Board, La Raza Roundtable.
Catherine McBain from the Office of the Independent Police Auditor.
Lori Ramos Chavez, Conexion.
Tom Cox, Connection mentor.
Corina Herrera Loera, trustee for the Alum Rock Union Elementary School District.
It's locked. Oh, it's open.
Citalia Ortiz, a member of the Youth Advisory Council for Indian Health Center.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mario. I'm with Senator Dave Cortese's office.
Steve Preminger, I'm with the county.
Derek Rodriguez, I'm a board aide for Supervisor Betty Young and a veteran.
Gabrielle Antolovich with the Billy DeFrank LGBTQ plus Community Center. And very sad we lost our Jesuit Pope.
Paul Joseph, Chief of Police. Good evening, relatives. Gerardo Istea Loera, co-founder of Noshli Consulting Services and community activist.
Tony Mara, Santa Clara District Attorney's Office.
Danny Garza, Plata Arroyo Neighborhood Association, La Raza Roundtable, and California Department of Transportation Small Business Advisory Council. Basic troublemaker.
Noah Garza. I'm currently attending Evergreen Valley College.
Paul Soto, historian, advocate for the Chicano lowrider and farm worker movement histories. I established landmarks for those three areas of history.
Good evening to everyone. Rosy Cepeda, community activist and founder of Latina Success Network.
Alberto Carrillo, commissioner from the Veterans Commission of Santa Clara County and retired from the county.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Damon Silver. I'm your acting public defender in Santa Clara County.
Good evening. Derek Grasty, Board Trustee, Mount Pleasant School District, and Steering Committee District Community Roundtable.
Ramon Martinez, La Raza Historical Society.
Enrique Flores with DFCS County.
Manu Martinez, KCXU 92.7. We're streaming live, La Raza Roundtable.
Okay, so Vic can hear us, right? Okay, so does everyone remember Judge Catherine Lucero? You probably do. So she's in Sacramento now, and she heads a pretty large program, and she sends her regards to everybody. She said she misses us, and she thinks about us because she came to the meetings, and she's fighting a lot of battles right now. A lot of money coming to California, especially, because of our state, is being frozen. And it's causing a lot of problems. And she's really battling to get money back to Santa Clara County. And yeah, oh, that's right. She was telling Lori that when she was going through these battles, she remembered what Victor taught her. And she's still using those lessons. So that was really touching. And one other thing I wanted to let you know, as people are coming in there. I don't know if you heard rumors that Conexión was moving. We are moving, but we're moving to the front of the building. So we're not going far. So we're going to change the suite number, that's all. Oh, that's where we're going. We're not going anywhere. And the meetings will still be here, so that doesn't change. Okay, let's see. I'd like to start introducing our guest speakers. And I'd like to introduce the mayor of the city of Milpitas. We're so happy to have a Chicana leading a city. Yeah. And she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. And I don't know if she'll mention that she went to high school with Lori. They probably caused all kinds of problems. I'm trying to bribe her to find out what Lori was like. So anyhow, she's going to let us know what they're doing in Milpitas. So welcome, Carmen. Carmen Montaño.
Well, it is a pleasure being here, and I'm glad that I'm back home. I'm a longstanding member of La Raza Roundtable for many, many years, and I'm glad that everything is fine. So anyway, again, my name is Carmen Montano, and I also am the first woman mayor ever elected in the history of Milpitas. And first woman, first Latina, first Mexican-American, first Chicana. I have deep roots. If Lori remembers, I used to be the president of the Chicano Student Union at Milpitas High School. And that's where the leadership started, always about making sure there was social justice and social equity. Again, Carmen Montaño, and I am the daughter of farm workers. So my family moved from Delano, California, which is the birthplace of the United Farm Workers. My parents moved in 1964 to Milpitas. And I was raised in Milpitas, went to school there. My kids went to school there, and now my grandkids go to school there. So we're actually 4 generations in Milpitas, and in the state of California, 5 generations. Again, I witnessed Milpitas turn in from an agricultural community into a thriving suburban community. If you've gone to Milpitas, you'll see that we have a park there. We have a lot of smart growth. We're having a lot of apartments, condos. We used to be a population when I was first living there, 20,000. Now we're 81,000 strong. And we're a very, very diverse community. And that comes from because in Milpitas, we had a co-op that was built. Well, actually, let me backtrack. So in Milpitas, we had the Ford Motor Company, which is now the Great Mall, and we also have General Motors, which was in Fremont, and that's where my father worked. And because we had a neighborhood that was called the Sunny Hills neighborhood, so I was the founder of the Sunny Hills Improvement Association, and the reason why I founded that association was because our city was neglecting our neighborhood. You know, recessions come and go. And when the recession hit, cities don't put the resources in neighborhoods. And so they didn't put the resources back when the economy improved. And I said, you know, that's not right. You know, for them to ignore and neglect our neighborhood just because we're an older neighborhood. That neighborhood was built in the 1950s. And so actually that was how I started my political career. It wasn't because I was out there looking to be a politician, but I don't like the word politician, I like public servant better. It was because I was trying to improve my neighborhood, and I used to go to City Hall with my coworker, and we would go to City Hall and we would fight say, hey, you know, you need to fix this, you need to fix that. And then I started doing research, and then I found out that there are code enforcement. There's rules, and I found out about zoning and the general plan, and you know, the average person doesn't know about that. And then that's when I learned that, hey, you know, people can do a lot of good. Cities can do a lot of good to improve communities. And so, you know, my friend Bob Pecco and I, we used to go to City Hall and advocate for our neighborhood. And so I became a face. And so at that time, Pete McHugh was our mayor. And he said, Carmen, would you like to serve on a commission? We have an opening in the Parks and Recs Commission. And then, you know, I was, you know, apprehensive because, you know, it's kind of it was out of my comfort zone. But then I said, you know what? Yeah, I'll try it. So then I served on the Parks and Rec Commission, and then later on I served on the Library Commission, and then later on I served on the Planning Commission. So it was like a evolution. And then someone said, hey, why don't you run for school board? Because I was a teacher. Matter of fact, I was a single mom raising 2 kids on welfare at that time. But I was working a part-time job and going to San Jose State University, and I wanted to get my teaching credentials. So at that time, even when I was advocating for my community, I was a single mom raising my kids by myself. But I said, you know, my heart is in Milpitas. I want to do the right thing. Again, I was a school teacher, and so someone said, why don't you run for school board? And I said, hey, yeah, you know, I could probably do that. That would be a good thing. I could put in my input as a school teacher. So I ran for school board, served there for 4 years, and I said, oh, this is you know, it's taking a lot of time. And I was going to go for my master's, and I said, well, I'll put the master's in the back burner. I'll say mañana. So, later on, somebody said, you know, we need you there because our school board was not diverse. Our school board did not reflect our community at all. And so they said, no, we need you there. We need to see somebody, the parents, the students, they need to see you there in the leadership role. So then I said, okay, I'll stay another 4 years. So I served on the school board, Milpitas Unified School District, for 8 years. And then later on, somebody said, hey, why don't you run for city council? And I, you know, again, it was out of my comfort zone. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll try it, you know. It's one of that little risk factor that, you know, like, why not? Just go for it, you know, that kind of thing. So then I ran for city council. I didn't make it. And then again, I ran for city council again. Almost made it, but didn't make it. And then the third time I said, this is it. this is it, man, because I'm just spending too much money. Because, you know, you have to have a lot of money to run for office. And I was spending my own money. And I said, this is it. This is going to be my last time. But you know what they say, third time's a charm. So I got into the city council in the year 2012. I served for 4 years, 2012 to 2016. And then that's when our mayor was termed out. That was Mayor Jose Estevez. And so then he asked me, hey, why don't you run for mayor? And so then I said, what? Me, mayor? Are you kidding me? So then I, you know, and then I said, okay, yeah, why not? You know, so then I ran for mayor. Didn't make it. That's when another person got in, and I would say his name is Rich Tran. So he got in, and then he served for 6 years, and then in the year and then in 2018, I ran for city council, and I got back in, and then in 2022 or 21, he was termed out, and then people say, well, run for mayor. So then I ran, and lo and behold, I got in. So this is my second term on the city council as the mayor. And the thing is, you have to run every 2 years because, you know, that's the way the founders, the forefathers had set it up. And so every 2 years I have to run for mayor. And this is my second term. And I'm really blessed that the community is really supportive of me because they see that I have done a lot of great things in our city. You know how that phrase, actions speak louder than words? It is true. People will, I mean, because I'm an anomaly. We're only 14% Latino in Milpitas. We are about 70% Asian. And I was an anomaly when I first ran. The people were like shocked. Like, what? It's just send shock waves. But that just goes to show you, it just goes to prove that it's what you do. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what color you are. It's where your heart is at. It's about serving the people. And then, again, I've served on the school board. And the fact that I'm a school teacher, and actually I still have my teaching credentials. So sometimes I do sub at the high school, and the people they love it. The kids, you know, and then I show them. I have a 1955 Chevy Bel Air, they love it. They go, yeah, you know. So, and I still have that love for teaching, even though I'm retired. But I still substitute teach every once in a while when I can. And like I said, my father worked at General Motors, and so I'm a child of farm workers. And I've had that strong work ethic. When I was a kid, we used to pick cotton. When we moved to Milpitas, we used to cut apricots, pick walnuts. So I have that hard work ethic that a lot of Latinos have, it's in our blood. We're just hard workers, you know. And I take that hard work ethic on the city council. I work hard, you know. I stay up late at night reading my agendas and always trying to improve my city. Like right now, I'm in the process of revitalizing our Old Town Main Street because it used to be a thriving part of our city. It was our downtown. And so right now we're in the process of trying to revitalize it, making it an entertainment zone, so get people walking there and bring it back alive. So those are one of my goals that I'm trying to do. And again, I'm trying to just make Milpitas the best city in the valley. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm also called a singing mayor because I love to sing. My father used to play the guitarra when I was a kid. I would have been a Selena, but you know that didn't happen. But people invite me to sing the national anthem, "America the Beautiful," and you know, it's in my heart. And people, they just, you know, they can see that I'm a down-to-earth mayor, and that's why people keep electing me, because I'm just trying to help everybody and trying to make our city the best city. But again, I'm retired. I taught at Franklin McKinney School District down the street, and I still have a lot of my friends there. So, is there any questions for me? So, okay, Lori, we went to school together. I don't know, in Milpitas High School. Some of my one of my proudest accomplishments is I formed an arts ordinance. That means that any new development in the city of Milpitas, the developer has to put art in their, in their building or pay an in lieu fee and put when we have an arts fund. And that arts fund has grown to $1 million, so we put, we're putting art in our city. Because art is very important. It's an expression of your soul, and it's an expression of the city. When you see a lot of cities that have a lot of art, it makes a huge difference. So that was my proudest accomplishment in the city of Milpitas. So, Mr. Soto?
Thank you. You're hearing you speak is the Chicano movement's hopes realized in the future. Because in their past, their hopes was that one of our own would be in the position that you're in today. So I have the privilege of being able to hear their hopes and dreams realized. And one of them was Ernestina Garcia. And
she lived in Milpitas, yeah.
Right, 609 Nieves. And so what I found in Jose Negrete's book that she is that she had institutionalized Cinco de Mayo being recognized as a holiday in the Milpitas School District, the only one in the state of California that did that.
People would ask. They would ask, hey, why is Milpitas the only city that has a Cinco de Mayo holiday and nobody else? And that was because of her.
Yeah. So my question is there anything that we could possibly do as, because I'm a Chicano historian, I talk to Doreen on a regular basis, and so what my hope is to have some acknowledgement within the context of the Milpitas School District or Milpitas High School to show the link between her work and your success as Milpitas mayor and a teacher at Milpitas High School. I think that right there is a very important link to establish.
Well, what we could do is connect with we have a Milpitas Historical Society, and we could give them all that information, and then we could share it with the community. And I think Ramon, he has that connection with them. So, Ramon.
Senator Montaño, excuse me, Mayor.
There you go.
I don't know about being in government in Milpitas, are there term limits? And as young as you are, what kind of visions do you have for the bigger picture of the needs across our region?
Transportation. Housing and transportation is a symbiotic relationship. They go hand in hand. What's happening right now is the state is really taking away our local control. Cities don't have control about what kind of housing. It's I don't know if you heard. So every 8 years, every city they have to provide so much housing. And if they don't provide that housing, then they get punished. They have to have what they call the builder's remedy imposed on them. That means that if you do not build that housing or have a plan to build that housing, that means that a developer can go in there and build any kind of housing they want anywhere. And that, it really demises our control to have safe, smart growth. So that's, there is a they say there's a housing crisis, but I've been telling people it's really not. You see empty apartments everywhere. It's an affordability crisis. People cannot afford to live here in Silicon Valley, and it's not because there's not enough housing. There's not affordable. So and guess who are the the people that are mostly affected? Latinos and African Americans. Mostly Latinos. They have to work 2-3 jobs. 2-3 jobs to make ends meet, and it's because that a lack of affordability. So that's my biggest challenge that we have in the city. So,
I just wanted to mention, I represent the county on the Santa Clara County Cities Association in Carmen. One of the things I like about you is you're always willing to ask the difficult questions and find out what are the implications and how does that impact the city. And I think you lead the others to think, well, I should be doing that in my city, but you've never shied away from that. And I just want to acknowledge
I appreciate that. I serve, again, I serve on the Cities Association, Santa Clara County Cities Association. So all the mayors, they are there, and we're all like brainstorm, and they come up with different ideas. What's going on in your city? What's going on? And then also how the state is affecting the city. But yeah, sometimes I guess I got a reputation, and they say, "Oh, here comes trouble." But it's not that I'm a troublemaker. It's just that I challenge the system, or I question it. I question, hey, well, well, what about this? Look at this, and then it gets people to wonder, well, maybe she's right, So, and that's what I hope that each and every one of you don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be say, hey, well, what about this? Because then it opens a different paradigm. And that's what we need. We need people not to be, don't shy away from asking the questions or say, hey, well, how about if we do it another way? So thank you for that. I appreciate that. So anyway, any more questions? Okay.
I did. About Elmwood. What type of relationship do you have with the county and Elmwood? Do you have any oversight or do you have any input?
That's the county. No, but we actually, there's been people say, oh, why doesn't the county move Elmwood? But however, the Elmwood, they have workers. And guess what? The workers, they go out and they go to restaurants. And restaurants, you have to pay, taxes. So it's really, it's a sales, it helps the city, it's that symbiotic relationship, So, and it's a safe, the county does, the sheriff's department, they do a real good job. And then, so how our city is involved, whenever there's something happens there, our police go there and to help the sheriffs, and then our
firefighters. They help, like if somebody's having a heart attack or whatever, medical issues, they go and they help. So we're a partner in that sense. So just like we're a partner with the school district as well. So, and what I love about Milpitas, it's a small city. So if you call the police, they'll come in within 3 minutes, like that. They do. Thank you very much. And again, if you ever want me to sing the national anthem somewhere, just call me.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Carmen. We're very proud of you representing us as a mayor. That's wonderful. Thank you for being here. Okay, our next speaker, that's not Sonia. That's Vernon Medicine Cloud. No, I'm sorry. Sonia was taken ill. She's in the hospital. And so we all wish her well. And hopefully she'll be here for another meeting in the future. But I twisted Vern's arm, and he said he would be Sonia for the day. And he's going to come up and tell us about the Indian Health Center. Connection works a lot with the Indian Health Center. They have a lot of activities here. We collaborate on a lot of programs, and they're just wonderful to work with. So, and we mainly work with Vernon, so it's great to have him here. Like he's always here anyhow.
Right. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Awesome. So as Rose said, I'm Vernon Medicine Cloud. I am the Intertribal Resource Director at the Indian Health Center. She asked me to talk a little bit about my history here in San Jose, so I'll just briefly describe that. I was born and raised here in San Jose pretty much my whole life. My grandparents came out on relocation in the late 1960s from Montana. They originally came out to San Francisco. They didn't like San Francisco, so they asked the BIA to move them somewhere else, and they sent them here to San Jose. So pretty much my immediate family's been here my whole life, but I definitely have a lot of family back home in Montana, North Dakota, Wyoming. So, pretty much raised here my whole life. Went to Dove Hill School over on the east side. Went over to Leyva, was a Leyva Bulldog, and then finally went over to Silver Creek High School and was a Raider. So, over by Rose's house. And then went on to San Jose State. I wasn't able to finish at San Jose State, unfortunately, but I was able to finish at the University of Phoenix, got my MBA, so it definitely feels good, I'm a Assiniboine in Turtle Mountain, Chippewa, enrolled in Belcourt, North Dakota on my dad's side. My mom's Assiniboine. And Louise and Ernie, those are my aunt and uncle. They're just looking at me like, you're going to do good. Thanks, guys. But yeah, so been here ever since. Like I said, I love what I do at the Indian Health Center. Been there 21 years, 2004. Started off writing grants, reports, just everything really. We were a small staff back at that time. We're about 80 people. Now we're at 300 with a lot of sites all over San Jose. So yeah, we're doing a lot of great work. You know, we have our main clinic over on Meridian. I think a lot of folks know where we're at, or at least pass by there, the Indian Health Center. We have a site over at Silver Creek. We have some sites over at O'Connor Hospital. So we do medical, dental, behavioral health services, WIC, nutrition programming. We have a family resource center as well, where a lot of our youth go to and come and do youth workforce development. Just a lot of great things. My job specifically is to help our American Indian Alaska Natives in our community, and I love doing that. You know, I love helping everybody, don't get me wrong, but it's especially important to me to help my people because I know the struggles that my people endure and that we still endure today, you know. We're still pretty much invisible to a lot of people, but we're making changes and we're making progress, and we're doing a lot of great work to do that. So here at Connection, as Rose said, we do our talking circle the second Wednesday of the month. We have movie night, and then we have our night of fun, and usually that's bingo. We usually get about 80 to 100 people in this room playing bingo, and we got a lot of great prizes. So yeah, we've hosted American Indian Heritage celebrations here at Connection. So we're doing a lot of great work. You know, we're doing work around MMIP, Missing Murder Indigenous Peoples, that started out in Canada. So we're just getting the word out there about things. You know, we're doing a lot of great work. We're moving forward, and we got a lot of great working relationships with a lot of our folks in this room here. That's really all I have, Rose. Sonia's got a more exciting story, believe me. She's a veteran, and she's been on the Not Invisible Commission. Yeah, sure. Yes, Paul. Awesome.
Excellent information on there, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Secondly, it pissed me off. I was at a children's seniors committee meeting. Arenas is the chair.
Yes.
UCSF Dr. Catherine Magolis gets on. And what they're going to start doing is instituting a program where they're going to mentally give a mental health diagnosis to children 0 to 3. I said, wait a minute. I've never signed up for a committee. That is the only committee that I signed up on. I just signed up on it today. I want to be on this roundtable committee that submits recommendations to that particular committee.
Sure.
So what I'm asking you is if I need some backup. And so what I'd like is a representative, because we know better about how institutionalized racism affects, and segregation over time has affected the health of these children.
Yes.
Because most people in our communities are single parent. So that means the love and the attention is taken away from the kid. And those are the symptoms, not this child subjectively, inherently has some mental health condition.
Right.
So they're getting reckless, and it's dangerous to do that to a 3-year-old kid. Because what it does is it absolves the community of the responsibility of the conditions that the kid is experiencing. And that's what I want to, so I'm going to need some support.
Sounds good. We'll talk after the meeting for sure, Paul.
Thank you.
Yes, no worries. Any other questions, folks? Yes.
At risk because of the current budget and.
Oh, definitely, yes. We've already got one of our federal grants cut already for our family resource development. It's been zeroed out, so. Yeah, we're going to be feeling like everybody else, folks. Just like Connection's going to feel it, Gardner, and everybody else. We're going to.
Have any other programs had their funding like frozen or?
No, nothing like that right now. Thank goodness. That when everybody got frozen, we did, but then we got our funding intact. But we expect some big cuts to come. Okay. Yeah.
I was going to ask, consciousness about Native Americans, Indians, has been zero for 100 years.
Yeah.
We're now at a point where pretty much you go to public meetings and they do the land acknowledgement.
Yes.
So that's kind of a basic step.
Yeah.
What are some more basic steps that are, that are broad, that are going to help increase, again, understanding of the Native American contribution and the reality of Native Americans now?
Right. Yeah, thank you for that question. You know, Julie and the Walkman tribe, they do a great job of doing land acknowledgments. You know, this is, as we're on their homeland. Louise here as well, she does land acknowledgments in her homeland in Monterey, Karma area. So that's a great first step. But we got to do more events, I think, you know, and that's what we're doing, American Indian Heritage Celebration, the MMIP events. And I think it starts with us, since these, you know, this is who we are. We do have, you know, Native American Heritage Nights with the sharks and the earthquakes, and that's a great start too, because we get a lot of people knowing about that and people ask questions. But yeah, I think just holding more events, and that's the best, you know, that's not the best thing we can do, but just hold more events and get things out there, get the word out there. A lot of people are finding about their American Indian, Alaska Native heritage, so that's always great too. You know, we get a lot of questions. Especially me. I'm always getting, you know, I just heard I was Indian. I did a 23andMe test. You know, where's my check? I was like, yeah, I wish I got a check too, you know. But the 23andMe test, you know, unfortunately doesn't tell you what tribe you are. It just says how much Indian you are to a specific region. So, but yeah, I think just holding more events, getting the awareness out there, sir. That's what we can do, you know, more support for sure.
More power to you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Anything else? Any other questions?
Well, I just want to personally commend the center. I live pretty close by there, and I think on women care and women who might not feel comfortable going, let's say, to Planned Parenthood, breast exams, just general wellness for women. It's been going on for a long time. So please let us know when, I know you have your annual event all the time, but you might need to have that twice a year now,
Right.
how we can actually support it, because the women that I sent there had no idea I was there to serve them, and they had no idea that these services were there, and they were, you know, some of them were able to get early on, find out that, you know, they had, instead of stage 4, they had stage 1 breast cancer. I mean, it really changed their lives. So I just, if you're not told every day, thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you very much for that. I will definitely pass that on to our CEO and the rest of our staff. Thank you. No? You're good? Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. Anybody has any questions? I'll be here after the meeting. Thank you.
I have to move this thing down. A lot taller than me. So, I really have to commend the Indian Health Center, because I'd say until Sonia was the president there, or the CEO there, you hardly ever heard, people were surprised there were in Santa Clara County. And yeah, and then Vern, you know, we collaborated on the annual event, and it's just really grown every year. And there's powwows around the corner. There was one at Yerba Buena. They have them at, you know, high schools around here. So if you ever hear of them, you should go. You should go. I would like to acknowledge Louise Ramirez is in the front row. Would you please stand? Louise is the chairwoman of the Esalen. Ohlone? How do you go? There you go. Thank you for being here, Louise. Really nice to see you. Oh, come up here right now. Say it.
More than a minute. You know, when you're talking about Native Americans and what's happening, right now, we're into politics, and we're being killed by AB 52. The Assemblywoman Curry from Oakland has a bill being supported by Grayton Rancheria and Pachanga, removing all non-recognized tribes. They are ignoring us. They have the money. We don't. There's accepting letters, accepting petitions for us not to be removed. So they want to come into our areas. They want to have the choice to bury our ancestors or not. So they want to remove us completely. We need support. You know, we know who we are. Our genealogy has been all the way back to Carmel Mission. You know, when Sarah came in, to the area. Every member of my tribe can prove it. And if they can't prove it, then they don't come into our tribe. And so we can argue with anybody who wants to know who we are. We have been here forever. I have reburied ancestors that are 4,000 plus years old. In Carmel, it's dated some back to 9,000 years old. They deserve our ceremonies, our prayers, not anybody else's. And just because they have casinos and money doesn't mean that they have the right to come into our homelands. I ask you to find out about it. And they're going to be voting on it soon. And we have been having meetings like every other day.
What can we do to help?
We need signatures. We need letters, writing to the assembly. We've been contacting James Ramos, and there's decisions. We just need to send letters saying, do not remove the non-federally recognized tribes. You know, we're not going into their homeland. We're not going into their territory. We just want to be in our homelands. And they don't want that. They don't want us to have a voice at all. They want to remove our existence. I mean, it's like every day I'm on calls and writing letters and getting people. I've been sending to Ash Clara, you know, to support us. And it's beyond that. I mean, it's really hard for us right now. And I'm sure, you know, the Muwekma know about that. And we just need everyone to stand up for us, because they're really going to eliminate us. The Pechanga is the richest in the whole state. And Grayton just announced that they made over their first $2 billion. And you know, Grayton was not federally recognized 15 years ago. So I know I can continue forever, but please check into it. It's AB 52. And AB 52 gives us consultation with the cities, with the counties, and everybody. And we deserve to be able to do that. So there I am. I'll go on forever. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Louise. And what I'd like you to do is get us all the information. We'll put it in our newsletter and get it to everyone so they can write letters in your support, okay? You have a question there? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and if you belong to other organizations as well, get the information to them. So we'll be sending it out to you. And please help. And you know, there's a lot of Mexica people here, so we're talking about native blood there too, most of the people here. So remember that. Okay, so now let's see. We want the councilman say a few words. Councilman Bien.
Thank you so much. First of all, happy birthday. So last week I went over to the county and I stood with our constituent to fight against the cutting of the Medicare and Medicaids. That's affect 80 million of our community members, right? Not only that, it's also affect the very way underserved, including the developmental disabilities people, which I was over the Andreas Regional Center luncheons today. And you ought to hear the horror stories and the hurts out there for people who were born with disability. They didn't do any type of crime or anything to cause them to be that way. They deserve the help. And I'm very passionate about that because when I came to United States in 1975, my father worked as a site tech at the Porterville State Hospital. And later on, we move up here, and my father worked at Ag News, and my mom, and even myself as a side tech. So those are very near and dear to my heart, and I hope that this is where we must stand together to fight against the atrocity that our federal administration is doing to us. And if we don't stand together, when are we going to do it? We need to do it now. A couple other news. Obviously, there's a little night market, even though it's raining. Just come out there. There's Mexican food, Indian, lots of Vietnamese, a lot of cultural, and we want to make sure that the Hispanic community out there come out and join us to share our value and because it's very similar to yours as well. On April 30th, which is coming up next Wednesday, is what you call the Black April. It's a day that we commemorate the loss of our country to communism. We've lost everything that we have. We lost our identity. But thank God to America. Gave us an opportunity to start our lives, to be who I am. And I ask that all of you come and support on Wednesday at City Hall. We're going to do a ceremonial flag raising, and then we also have the candlelight vigil at Grand Century here at 6:30. So please, come on out, especially on Wednesday, to join all of us. Just a couple other news. The Olive program is in full action. We're moving a lot of unwanted, non-sanctioned, unsafe RVs out of a bunch of businesses and our residents as well. And so that program to continue. But we also do an abatement of, we already did the Tully Library, the Coyote Creek. And then now we're going to head over to where Yerba Buena is. And the next step is right here at Remolar. And so we make sure that it's a no-return zone. And we're going to defend it. But we also reach out to our unsheltered residents to make sure they get the help that they need. And, when we talk about, one more thing, I'm sorry, I just missed one thing. Not yesterday, the day before, we just had a brand new grand opening of the Via del Oro, which is right off of San Ignacio, 150 units for unsheltered residents. And so that will help a lot of our residents from the creek into those housing where they need it. And when we talk about, our immigrants being affected, I wasn't born here. I'm an immigrant. I'm a refugee. And the way the administration have it right now, he'll be deporting me too, including our LGBTQ plus that they've gone against. They've gone against on everything that we believe in. And I'll tell you this, we are the 4th largest economy in the world. Sometimes I feel like saying, if we can just separate ourselves and force them to play with us, because every dollar that go in the federal come out of California. We have that power, but we need to stand together. Again, I re-emphasize the fact that if we don't be organized and we don't stand together, all of us will suffer, right? And I tell you, it's just, and regarding the AB 52, I will have my staff put together a letter, and we'll send it to, I believe it's James Ramos, right? And I'll send one to Dave Cortese and Ashkra and so on. And rightly so, it's not about gambling, it's not about money, it's about recognizing what is right. And we've gone a long way to erase the native here, and we need to do the opposite, and I'm there to support you as well. Thank you so much, and that's all I have, and I got to run to another meeting. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rose. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. He's trying to break Chuck Reed's record of not missing a meeting, so he's doing pretty good here.
Sorry, I forgot to say, the flag raising start at 11 a.m., so please, come on out.
Thank you. I'd like to hear from educators if you'd like to let us know what's going on in your community. So, Karina, you want to come up? Any other educators here that would like to speak? You got 2 minutes.
I'll try to do it shorter. I know it's a Friday night. We all have things to do. Corina Herrera Loera, serving as your trustee for the Alum Rock Elementary School District. I have several updates, so I'll be quick, go down the line here and try to list them all. First of all, though, as an indigenous Wirarica woman, I will definitely write a letter as an elected official. So I love to make sure to connect with you and get those details. And we get to remember that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, regardless, right? Sometimes we feel like, oh, well, not my people, not me. But we get to remember that. Anything you see, if it doesn't involve you, it actually does. So let's remember that and unite, right, when we talk about the injustices happening. And so I want to thank Dave Cortese, our senator. Dave Cortese, I was able to go and provide testimony for SB 743 a couple of weeks ago in Sacramento, where basically, long story short, many of us know that our children in Alum Rock get about $10,000 less per student per year than students 20 minutes from us. So you ask yourself why there's inequities. They're still in place, right? Some of us believe, oh, no, not anymore. No, yes, they're still in place. So we need to make sure that we come together again and that we speak up on behalf of everybody. And so SB 743 would bring some equity there. So please also support that and join us. I know at Alum Rock last time we passed a resolution. So also asking people to submit letters and support us on that. And also speaking of Dave Cortese, for many years I've been able to join his educational day in Sacramento. So if you haven't gone, please come. Let me know. I'll give you the link. It's free, but you do got to RSVP. This year, as you know, in Alum Rock, we had to close some schools in December, and I came to him and said, hey, we're drowning over here. Help us out, Senator. Time's up. And then last but not least, MAXA. MAXA, we were able to extend 1 more month, so if you want to know more about that, come talk to me after.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Derek Grasty, Board Trustee, Mount Pleasant School District. I'll double down also on Senate Bill 743. I was also in Sacramento supporting that, and we certainly need more education, more funding for the education of our kids. And also, our school district supports diversity, equity, and inclusion. When I was board president, we passed that resolution, and we will continue to do so. We also are supporting our immigrant community against advances if ICE comes in. We've given them information to support families and people in our community. And so we are united, and we will also work together. On a lighter note, on May 1st, we have a chef's challenge, sort of like on the cook-offs that they have on TV, and our students will be cooking various treats and having judges taste their delicacies, and it's always a wonderful event. This will be the second annual one, and we're looking forward to this wonderful event again. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. My name is Sam Hope, Evergreen Community College District. First of all, I want to thank you, some of you who've been able to attend the celebration of the grand opening of the 3 new buildings at the Evergreen Valley College. Our bond dollars, if you have a chance to visit that college, it's a beautiful college now with all the support that we have from the community. So it's our place, and it's a wonderful place to be there. Tomorrow, the 26th, from 10 to 4 p.m. will be an Evergreen Community Day. So 10 to 4 p.m. There'll be the events. 50 booths going to be there, so if you have a chance to bring your family over, please do. And I just want to send an update from our Chancellor, Dr. Beatrice Chaitis, relating to the education DEI issue relating to the federal. And she mentioned that Chancellor Christian's message highlights 2 recent federal court rulings in cases based about Trump administration actions related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. In one, a Maryland judge paused enforcement of the Department of Education's February Dear Colleague letter, which threatened to withhold federal funding from institutions for what the administrations deem discriminatory practices under Title VI. In the second ruling, a federal judge in New Hampshire blocked a Department of Education directive from April that sought to require states to confirm that K-12 public schools were not engaged in certain DEI practices in order to maintain access to the Title I funding. And not to mention below was a third ruling from this week in which a federal judge in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia issued a preliminary injunction blocking the Trump administration from enforcing a directive designed to ban diversity initiatives in public educational institutions. In her injunction, Judge Dabney Friedrich noted that the government's threats likely violate the U.S. Constitution. And as we know, when we hear DEI attack, we know that it affects 50% of Americans who are women, who are people of different ethnic backgrounds. That's half of the country. We're not going to let them change that we fought over for the last 60 years. Thank you.
Now, are you gentlemen going to speak on education items? Because this is not announcements. We're going to do announcements later. Just education. You have 2 minutes. And I'm going to cut you off, too. Especially you.
I am Ramon Teacher from the Raza Historical Society, and history is education.
Hey, wait a minute.
A shout out to Native Americans. History is just totally missing in public education. We know that. It doesn't exist. For example, just generally, this is something for everybody. When the colonists got here, to the colonies, when we talk about the founding of America, nobody knows that those colonists that went over towards the Ohio Valley and the Mississippi Valley, that there were giant mounds, basically pyramids, right? Giant mounds called Cahokia, in Native American cities of 50,000 people. Nobody has ever been taught that. All we think about of Indians is little huts and running around, jumping around. That's where we have some work to do. Speaking of local history, the Golden State, California Gold Rush, when you say, what do you know about Mexicans of that time? Nothing. Nothing. If anything we do know about Mexicans at that time is the bandidos. Tiburcio Vázquez, Murrieta. And that's all that is ever taught, and it's kind of leans over towards saying that banditry is kind of characteristic of that culture. Anyway, we're going to be working, La Raza Choco Society is working on a display at San Jose State Library in September. It's going to be called Tiburcio Vázquez and His Times. So I'm glad to see the police chief and a public defender sitting close to each other, because these are controversial issues. But I'll be reaching out to you to talk about planning. How do we talk? These bandit stuff doesn't go away. Why not? But in today's era, I don't think it's too hard to understand how people can love convicted felons. Okay? So this is a good time to discuss the subject. Thank you.
We don't mention his name in this room. Come on, Paul, you have 2 minutes.
Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I'm very proud to announce that I was able to form a collaboration with the San Jose State University School of Journalism, because it was a natural fit to establish Hellier Park as a California landmark because of the lowrider and Chicano movement's history associated with it. The first 3 years of Lowrider magazine, you will find in every single issue pictures of Hellier Park. Okay, and I also have the documentation that connects the Black Berets por la Justicia to that particular area, and documents from Sheriff Geary that legitimize their placement there. So what I'm going to be doing is working with the university. I applied for a grant. I'm going to get $6,000 for a student. 10 students want to participate in this program, and they're going to be getting college credit for it. And so what I'm going to do is be working with them in order to establish, we're going to create a historical context document with the school, because Sonny Madrid was connected there. And when you look at Lowrider magazine at its most base form, what is it? journalism, and photographs. That's it. There's nothing more. And so what I want to do is create a curriculum around that, the power of photography and journalism, and how much it can influence. It literally influenced the world. You know, you have lowrider culture in Japan. Why? Because Sunny Madrid took the responsibility to market it. I also was able to establish, in honor of Sunny Madrid, the building that serves as Lowrider's first headquarters. I was able to establish that as a historical landmark. And so with the Hellier Park thing, I want to get a hold of you, sir, Senator Cortese. I called his office today because Dom Cortese was at the dedication of Hellier Park when it first started. So I'd like to pull Senator Cortese in on that project. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, now we have something very special for you. Adriana Garcia, known. Am I going in and out or what? Sounds like it. Anyhow, Adriana Garcia she's very talented in a lot of areas. She works at De Anza College, my alma mater. And welcome, Adriana. You've got the stage.
Hola, buenas tardes. It's an honor for me to be here. I feel right as a place of decision making, potential collaboration, firme collaboration. For many years, no, and following a legacy of where we set the tone and the pulse for nuestra comunidad como Latinos, and in that. In the cultura way, right, acknowledging the spectrum of diversity of voices as Latinos, from indígenas to being mixed, ¿verdad? Que black Latino, que Latino something else, no? It is beautiful that we can still do that and carry that, considering how many ancestors La Raza Roundtable has gained. And so thank you so much for inviting me. Feliz cumpleaños. Thank you, thank you. May we celebrate a lot. And throughout the year, right? Every day is a good day to have a birthday. And so to share a little, I've been doing poetry since I always say since I was a little kid. My roots are from Zacatecas, Mexico. Hey. And we migrated when I was a little girl. And so what does a little girl do when she only knows Spanish and can't make friends right away in a very racist culture, unfortunately? At the school now we know as McKinley Elementary School. And I was lucky to have Mike Honda as a principal, who was so kind and sweet as a human being. The way he treated us, I remember, like he was just so tender and so kind. So also remembering him. But in that kind of culture, Adriana's like, let me write poetry. and I did it in Spanish first, and then eventually in what we know as Caló, Chicano style. And then eventually, as I reclaimed my indígena cultura, and then I became trilingual. So un poquito de todo, with the Nahuatl, with the Spanish, with the English, and here we are. So what I'll share today is a poem called La Historia de la Cumbia. I love cumbia. Who doesn't like cumbia, right? Yay! And learning a lot about it before it has become now this international dance sabor, right? But as we know, the music industry is heavily influenced by Afro-descendiente, Afro-diaspora culture. And so it took me a while to learn where cumbia came from, particularly, right? And it came from los palenques de Colombia. And I'll describe a little bit in the poem, but this is my way of honoring cumbia, the way it makes me feel happy, bring joy, but also honoring the Afro-Latino culture as well, and that's very present. And that is beyond making money, that is about creating community, honoring our humanity, and to see Black people as human beings, and to see indigenous people as human beings. La historia de la cumbia started with me right here, aquí. It started with the llanto of slavery, coming out of a passionate soul as I was born into a world that had more than innocence waiting for me. Eja conocimiento, responsabilidad, como mi cruz, como mujer, como mexicana, como una hermana creativa sin su brocha y su pluma. The size of bench presses and the weight was more than shackles on my feet. The weight was the conocimiento that I had to grow up before I was 3, that I had to prove myself sexually before I was 15, that I had to put máscaras on my face before I was 18, and that it was cool to get messed up with drugs before I was 21. And that I had more depression in my calendar days than Luna celebrations. And personal lessons are hard to pick up when I drop off. Spirits are still trying to survive one breath at a time. We get caught up with Silicon Valley ideas of houses and cars, blink, blink, caught up losing our spirituality from 9 to 5, blink, blink, because we were never given the opportunity to express our true heart's desire. We make tamales, we make love, we make sentimiento, we make community. La historia de la cumbia is a 2-step, 3-step, because the slaves on los palenques de Colombia could not move past their feet. They could not move past the length of their shackles, could not sway their body to freedom, could not walk to their own pace, because the master has set the limit. Between their own 2 feet, between their own people, reminds me of a centuries-old sequel. Feels like the crab syndrome, feels like San Jose's whack urban planning, like sometimes that messed up VTA transportation system. Because the master has set the limit, we're caught up taking 3 different bus lines before we smile to someone. Because the master has set the limit, like the fear in someone's face when they look at me. Am I too brown? Because soy mujer? Maybe because I'm short. I'm kidding. Because they can't guess if I'm someone they should be scared of. Maybe they haven't felt or learned or leaned on me as someone they can get to know. They're guessing way too much into their mind because they have lost the human art of sentimiento. That sentimiento nuestra gente have used to survive past corruptions, resistance, independence, and we resist imperialist ideologies. We resist Trump's messaging. We do it through our instinct of creativity, our rhythm. Even when we have 2 left feet, we rely in our sentimiento, getting to know each other. That maybe we gotta think about slaves being capitalist notions hidden in limelight bonuses like structured hours and at-will contracts and job security and health benefits and pensions, and we work more than 12 hours a day for the self, producing for someone else while we forget how to dance for ourselves. Because the history of cumbia begins with shackles in our feet and llantos en el corazón, we forgot that our spirits still sway in the direction of esperanza, in the direction of the south, where the youth gives us hope. That the warriors can still change their ways and maintain positive models of example, more words of love coming from our mouths, and a half moon lies near from the sky, it lies closer to our face, smiling to each other. Excited to hear rhythms that remind us our ancestors have rested, and so can you, and so can I. And can you hear the history of cumbia coming from a 2-step, 3-step in my feet? Yes, I carry shackles just like you. But we move to the drum, the same one that speaks from the heart. I see the sunrise. Can you see the sunset? All in one breath. All in one breath. While dancing cumbia, because in this history of cumbia, it lets me know I am more than a slave. It lets me know I have sentimiento. In this history, cumbia outlives the master's limits. Cumbia lets us free despite the shackles we carry. The history of cumbia is a history of freedom. Can you feel it? Yeah. And if so, will you dance with me? So that's un poema, no? Hopefully, we don't have the dance floor here, but we brought it here. Just trying to connect the dots, right? I think in these times, we need to figure out more points of unity between us than not, right? I know conflict is normal to our human experience, but we really do got to figure it out because there's so much money, so much messaging that's saying that we are less than human. And with that, it attracts shame and guilt and fear and anxiety. And that is the opposite of what we need right now to combat the current situation and the policy coming down. And then considering how particularly the communities mentioned today are being impacted. So with that, I'm going to do a little song, a Tonantzin song. And if Cody, you want to join me as a happy birthday song to a la mera mera Rose. And or Carla, if you want to join me and sing too. Julie, do you know the song, Tonancy song? Do you want to join us? Join us. Do you want to take a lead on it? Or not just drum? Or I'll take a lead on it? Yeah, come on through. Anybody that wants to come and sing a song, come through. Okay, I just, Tonancy song, we'll see. Hopefully I'll learn it out. Way Tonancy, Tonancy, way Tonancy. Way Tonancy, Tonancy, way Tonancy. El panemuani no yo no katsin, tlaso kamatli Tonancy. El panemuani no yo no katsin, tlaso kamatli Tonancy. Way Tonancy, Tonancy, way Tonancy. Way Tonancy, Tonancy, way Tonancy. Epanemuani no yo no katsin, tlaso kamatli Tonancy. Epanemuani no yo no katsin, tlaso kamatli Tonancy. Way Tonancy, Tonancy, way Tonancy. Way Tonancy, Tonancy, way Tonancy. One last time. Epanemuani no yo no katsin, tlaso kamatli Tonancy. Epanemuani no yo no katsin, tlaso kamatli Tonancy. Way Tonancy, Tonancy, way Tonancy. Way Tonancy, Tonancy, way Tonancy. Happy birthday. Aw, thank you so much. Oh, thank you for doing it. That was so sweet.
Okay, we're going to conclude the meeting so we can have some cake. And there's cake back there. So that's it. So we're going to adjourn. And thank you, Victor, for being here today. He's always watching us, you know that. So anyhow, we're going to adjourn. And please have some food. There's pizza and cake. And I'm going to leave the mic open unless if you have an announcement, just come up here and announce whatever you want to say. And we're going to keep mingling around and eating, okay? So we're adjourned. Thank you for being here.